Yeah, first time I smoked. I don't suggest this, but I was 13. Yeah, 13, 12 or 13.
You know, there's a short life in
Why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take. You're going through so much to try and deal with life.
Justin Bieber has broken his silence in the most devastating way imaginable, and the entertainment world may never recover. In a courtroom revelation that has sent shockwaves through Hollywood, Bieber has reportedly testified against Sean Diddy Combs in a federal trial that could bring the music mogul's empire crashing down. The allegations? Disturbing claims of manipulation, exploitation, and hidden horrors that allegedly unfolded during their once close relationship. This isn't just another celebrity scandal, this is a reckoning.
It was just an escape for me. I was just young, like everybody in the industry and people in the world who experiment and do.
We are talking about Justin Bieber, once the golden boy of pop music, now stepping into the public arena as the star witness in a high-profile case that could change everything. Sources close to the case describe Bieber's testimony as raw, emotional, and deeply troubling. He spoke of incidents that allegedly took place during his teenage years when he was still navigating the whirlwind of sudden fame. Diddy, who at the time was a towering figure in the industry, had taken Bieber under his wing, or so it seemed. Beneath the surface, Bieber now claims, lay a far darker story. And this isn't just about words. The trial has also brought forward chilling rumors of physical evidence, including a secret network of surveillance cameras, allegedly installed in Diddy's homes and private events. These cameras, according to whispers from insiders, captured footage of everyone who attended, celebrities, rising stars, and, most disturbingly, vulnerable teenagers like Bieber. The question haunting everyone now is, what exactly was caught on those tapes? How many lives were destroyed? And how many secrets will finally see the light of day?
It is the most clear cry for help that Justin Bieber has posted. And he's been posting a lot of things that you've heard fans that they're very alarmed and they think that he needs to get help. But this one there's nothing cryptic about it. Justin posted a message to everyone who's concerned about him, I guess. He said, "People keep telling me to heal. Don't you think if I could have fixed myself, I would have already?"
For Bieber, the weight of these allegations has been immense. Over the years, we've seen glimpses of his struggles, the highly publicized breakdowns, the battles with addiction, the candid interviews where he hinted at a troubled past. But what we didn't know was how much of that pain may have been tied to his time under Diddy's influence. People don't know how serious it got, Bieber once told a magazine during a reflection on his darkest days. It was scary. And now, with his decision to testify, it seems the pop star is finally ready to confront those fears head-on. The courtroom drama has also pulled the curtain back on Diddy's infamous Puffy camps, once marketed as mentorship retreats for young artists. These camps, Bieber alleges, were anything but innocent. Instead, they were allegedly grooming grounds, places where young stars were manipulated under the guise of professional development. And Bieber wasn't the only one who attended. Other celebrities, including Usher, have spoken in vague terms about their experiences at Diddy's camps, but their stories have always stopped short of full disclosure. Could Bieber's testimony finally encourage others to come forward?
You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far, you know? Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head, you know? But when you lose your man card.
We can't ignore the mounting evidence that has been piling up against Diddy. Federal agents raided his homes in LA and Miami, seizing electronics, documents, and, shockingly, over 1,000 bottles of lubricating oil. The raids have reportedly uncovered disturbing links to the freak-offs, elaborate and highly secretive parties that Diddy allegedly organized. These events, according to prosecutors, featured orchestrated performances that involved both well-known stars and individuals lured into compromising situations.
Card?
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying.
And this isn't just hearsay. Witnesses have described the freak-offs as chaotic, substance-fueled gatherings where nothing was off limits. One former associate even claimed these events were filmed without the participants' knowledge. If those recordings exist, they could be the smoking gun that seals Diddy's fate. But here's the twist. Some of those tapes reportedly feature high-profile names, people who might now be scrambling to distance themselves from the scandal. The ripple effects could be catastrophic, not just for Diddy, but for the entire music industry.
What I think he's saying, and look, we spent a lot of time on a new documentary that's on YouTube now called
What Happened to Justin
What
Bieber?
Happened to Justin Bieber? And, you know, my view of this, after especially talking with people in his world, people on his side, is that Justin has had these mental issues for a long, long time that he's been struggling with.
Bieber's emotional state has been another central focus of this unfolding saga. Once celebrated as the boy next door with a voice that melted hearts, he's now a man haunted by his past. Insiders close to Bieber describe him as battling depression and struggling to reconcile his memories. It's been years of silence, years of trying to move on, said a source who has worked with Bieber, but there comes a point where you can't run from it anymore. And perhaps that's why Justin chose to speak up now. His testimony isn't just about himself, it's about justice for others who might have suffered in silence. The courtroom has become a stage for a much larger narrative, one that highlights the abuses of power in an industry that has long protected its biggest stars. As one legal expert chillingly put it, this trial has the potential to be another Epstein or Kelly case, exposing years of hidden atrocities. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is doing everything they can to fight back. His lawyers have painted the accusations as baseless and dismissed the case as a witch hunt. But their arguments are starting to sound hollow in the face of overwhelming evidence and mounting testimonies. Diddy himself has remained stoic in court, occasionally nodding to his family members and trying to project an air of calm, but behind the scenes, sources say he's panicking. Bail has already been denied twice, leaving him to face the grim conditions of a Brooklyn detention center infamous for its violence and corruption.
That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid,
As the trial unfolds, other rumors are bubbling to the surface. There's talk of executives within the music industry scrambling to cover their tracks, fearing that they too could be implicated. At least 5 major figures are reportedly under internal review by their own companies, a desperate attempt to shield their brands from the fallout. And then there's the haunting question of who else might be dragged into the spotlight. Could more witnesses emerge? Could more tapes surface? The possibility is sending shockwaves through Hollywood. And all the while, Justin Bieber's story looms larger than life. His decision to testify has turned him into a symbol, a beacon for those who have long felt powerless. But it's also left fans wondering just how much more he's been hiding. After all, this is the same Bieber who once posted videos of himself hanging out with Diddy, calling it a dream come true. At the time, it all seemed so innocent. Now, those same clips are being revisited with a far more sinister lens.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah.
when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at it.
And let's not forget the eerie silence from some of Bieber's closest peers. Usher, who also had a close relationship with Diddy during his teenage years, has remained tight-lipped about his own experiences. In a resurfaced interview, Usher admitted to attending Diddy's camps as a teenager, but refused to elaborate. When asked if he would ever send his own kids to such a camp, his response was a firm and resounding hell no.
Will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication.
But what about the others? What about the unnamed stars who attended those parties, those camps, those so-called mentorship sessions? How many of them are now grappling with their own memories, wondering if they too were victims? And how many are staying silent out of fear of what might come next? We're just beginning to scratch the surface of this story. The courtroom revelations, the hidden tapes, the whispers of more victims waiting in the wings. It all points to a scandal that could reshape the entertainment industry as we know it. And at the center of it all stands Justin Bieber, a man who has chosen to break his silence, no matter the cost.
Now to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept.
Diddy's arrest has shattered the illusion of the glamorous, untouchable worlds of the music industry, exposing cracks that had been carefully hidden for decades. For years, his empire wasn't just a symbol of success, it was a fortress. Lavish parties, powerful connections, and star-studded collaborations painted a picture of invincibility. But now, prosecutors allege that behind the luxury and fame was something far more sinister. A methodical system of control, manipulation, and exploitation. And if the whispers are true, this trial isn't just about Diddy. It's about an entire industry scrambling to distance itself from one of its most powerful figures, fearing what might come next. Executives, artists, and insiders are reportedly on edge as the fallout continues to ripple. Could this be the start of a domino effect? According to sources close to the investigation, at least half a dozen names could emerge in connection to Diddy's infamous parties, some of them household names. The freak-offs, as described in court filings, weren't just private gatherings. They were allegedly orchestrated events where boundaries were blurred, trust was betrayed, and lives were forever altered. And now, with federal investigators digging deeper, the industry's once solid facade is starting to crumble. Who else was complicit? Who turned a blind eye? And who might be next to face the spotlight?
I've lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that because the man card means everything.
The most chilling piece of this puzzle is the alleged surveillance network that Diddy reportedly used to maintain his grip on those around him. Hidden cameras strategically placed in his homes and at his private events are said to have recorded everything. Stars, executives, and even close friends are rumored to have been caught on tape without their knowledge. These recordings, according to insiders, weren't just for personal use, they were leverage, a tool that could keep people silent, compliant, and under Diddy's control. The mere thought of what might be on those tapes has sent shockwaves through Hollywood. What if they resurface? How many careers could be destroyed in an instant? And how deep does this rabbit hole go?
Are you done with Hollywood because of this specific reason?
I'm still working. I still, I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to. But eventually, I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe. I've proven what I've set out to do, and that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not.
The industry's silence is deafening. For years, Diddy was celebrated as a trailblazer, a mogul who turned his success into a platform for others. But now, as these allegations come to light, his empire is being reevaluated under a much darker lens, and the public is demanding answers. How many people knew what was happening behind closed doors? How many willingly played along? And how many are now scrambling to rewrite their stories before the truth catches up to them? Justin Bieber's testimony has been a turning point, but it hasn't come without a cost. Insiders say he's been struggling with the emotional toll of revisiting his past, reliving moments that he had spent years trying to bury. For Bieber, testifying wasn't just about seeking justice, it was about reclaiming his narrative. But his bravery has opened the floodgates, encouraging others to come forward with their own stories. Already, new voices are hinting at a pattern of abuse that stretches far beyond what anyone imagined. This isn't just one man's downfall, this is an unraveling, and the implications are staggering. Diddy's alleged actions represent more than just personal failings, they point to systemic issues within the entertainment world. Power, unchecked, can corrupt in ways that leave lasting scars. And now, with the trial underway, the industry is being forced to confront its own complicity. How many times were red flags ignored? How many warnings were brushed off in the name of protecting profits? And how many more stories are waiting to be told?
So we just got this new audio from the Diddy trial, and it is pretty explosive. This is audio of a voicemail that Diddy left to the Jane Doe who's been testifying in this trial for the last couple days. And he sounds really annoyed. He's talking about her maybe giving him the silent treatment. And his response is, I got a busy life. I can't be dealing with your silent treatment. And we got to keep it moving.
For years, Diddy's name was synonymous with success. His annual white parties were the stuff of legend, attended by the biggest names in Hollywood, music, and beyond. But now, even those glamorous events are being re-examined. Guests have come forward with unsettling stories, describing an atmosphere where boundaries were pushed and discretion was demanded. Some claim they were pressured into signing NDA agreements before entering. Others recall seeing things that left them feeling uneasy but unsure of how to speak out. And then there's the ever-present question of the tapes. If those recordings exist, they could be the key to unraveling not just Diddy's alleged empire, but the culture of silence that allowed it to thrive.
Continue to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know. You think you silent treating me and you think I'm gonna be, nah, you'll have a rude awakening.
And yet, even as the walls close in, there are those who still defend him. Supporters argue that the allegations are exaggerated, that Diddy is being targeted because of his success and influence. His legal team has painted a picture of a man misunderstood, a public figure whose imperfections are being weaponized against him. But as more evidence emerges, that narrative becomes harder to sustain. The details are too specific, the story's too consistent, and with every passing day, the cracks in Diddy's defense grow wider. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of this case is the impact it's had on those who trusted him. Justin Bieber's emotional testimony has been a reminder of the human cost of power gone unchecked. Once a wide-eyed teenager, eager to prove himself, Bieber now finds himself at the center of a legal battle that could change everything. His courage has inspired others to come forward, but it's also left him vulnerable. Insiders say he's been leaning heavily on his inner circle for support, trying to balance the demands of the trial with the weight of his memories. And yet, despite it all, he's remained steadfast in his pursuit of the truth. But Bieber's story is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. As the trial continues, the focus is shifting to the broader implications. What does this case say about the music industry as a whole? About the culture of power and privilege that has allowed figures like Diddy to operate unchecked for so long? And about the systems that have failed to protect those most vulnerable? These are questions that demand answers, and the world is watching closely.
Coming out, it's so funny what's happening with Diddy because this was inevitable.
The fallout from this trial could be unprecedented. Already there are whispers of other lawsuits on the horizon, other figures who might soon find themselves in the crosshairs. Executives, artists, and insiders who once stood alongside Diddy are now scrambling to distance themselves. Some have even begun quietly settling their own disputes, hoping to avoid the public scrutiny that comes with a trial of this magnitude. But the public isn't so easily fooled. They want accountability, they want change. And as for Diddy, his future hangs in the balance. If convicted, the consequences could be devastating, not just for him, but for everyone who has been complicit in his alleged actions. The trial is more than just a scandal, it's a reckoning. A moment of truth for an industry that has long operated in the shadows. But for Justin Bieber, the scars run deeper than any headline can capture. His testimony has been a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. But it's also a stark warning of what happens when power is left unchecked. What happens next could determine not just the fate of Sean Diddy Combs, but the future of an entire industry. Will the truth finally prevail, or will the culture of silence win out once again? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, the story is far from over.